It's safe to say this past year has not been a very fun one for Victor Oladipo. Halfway through the 2019-20 season, he returned from a very big injury he suffered in the 2018-19 season, but he did not look like his old self at all, and even in the bubble, he didn't look like his old self. He started out okay for Indiana in the 2021 season, but then he would be traded to the Houston Rockets, and he'd only play 20 games there, didn't even play that well in those 20 games, and didn't look like his old all-star self, would be traded to the Miami Heat, and would only play 4 games there, and he played terribly in those games, and then he would undergo season-ending surgery that might even cost him the entire 2021-22 season. But just a few years ago, he was on top of the world and was viewed as the Pacers franchise player and was one of the best shooting guards in the NBA. So what happened? That's what we're going to be discussing in today's video. Before we get started though, make sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed it, as it really does help out the channel, and also make sure to subscribe if you guys are new and enjoyed this type of content so you don't miss out on any new videos like this. Plus, we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and once we hit our goal, I'm finally gonna do a face reveal. And also, let me know if you guys want to see more rise and fall of X-Player videos. I have another one down the line, so yeah, make sure to be on the lookout for that. But with that being said, let's get this video started, and let's briefly go over Victor Oladipo's childhood. He was born in Silver Spring, Maryland, and grew up in Upper Marlboro, Maryland. And growing up, he was really big into basketball, and in his junior year of high school, he would average 12 points per game and 10 rebounds per game. And coming out of high school, he was a 3-star recruit, and according to 24/7 Sports, he would receive offers from Indiana, Notre Dame, Clemson, George Mason, and James Madison, but he would end up choosing Indiana. Victor Oladipo, he would end up playing 3 seasons as a Hoosier, and he would have a pretty good career there, with career averages of 11 points per game, 2 assists per game, 5 rebounds per game, 1.5 steals per game, shooting 54% from the field. And his final year there would be fantastic, as he had averaged 14 points per game, 2 assists per game, 6 rebounds per game, 2 steals per game on 60% from the field and 44% from 3. And he finished his career there as a consensus All-American or Roop Trophy winner, hopefully I said that right, a 2012-13 All-Big Ten team member, a 2-time Big Ten All-Defense team member, and a 2012-2013 Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. And he would end up declaring for the 2013 NBA Draft, and there he would be selected 2nd overall by the Orlando Magic. And being a 2nd overall pick, he obviously had some really high expectations, to meet. And his rookie season wouldn't be fantastic, as he'd average 14 points per game, 4 assists per game, 4 rebounds per game, 2 steals per game on just 42% shooting from the field. And Orlando would also finish the season with a 23-59 record. Now those numbers, I'll admit, not the worst in NBA history, but at the same time, they are not fantastic either. But overall, Victor Oladipo's season, his rookie season, it was okay. However, his sophomore season would see a good bit of improvement, as though he'd get to see increases in things like points, steals, and efficiency. His numbers in the 2014-15 season would be 18 points per game, 4 assists per game, 4 rebounds per game, 2 steals per game on 44% shooting from the field. And the Magic, they would see a slight improvement by 2 games, as they'd go 25-57 instead of 23-59. Still a terrible record, but not as bad. However, Victor Oladipo would regress in his 3rd season, as he would average just 16 points per game, 4 assists per game, 5 rebounds per game on 44% shooting from the field and 35% from 3. And this raised serious questions about Oladipo's future. His rookie deal would be coming to an end soon, and Evan Fournier had also emerged as a potential star at the time, and along with that, he just hadn't had a breakout season yet. And this would cause the Orlando Magic to end up shipping him off in the 2016 offseason, as he, plus Domantas Sabonis and Ersan Ilyasova, went to the Oklahoma City Thunder in exchange for Serge Ibaka. Vic and OKC would have a solid season, but he wouldn't have a massive breakout season that a lot of people would expect a number 2 overall pick to have. And this was obviously during Russell Westbrook's MVP season, so there's no doubt he probably got in the way of Oladipo's development. But his Vic's stats that year would be 16 points per game, 3 assists per game, 4 rebounds per game, 1 steal per game, shooting 44% from the field and 36% from 3. Again, not the worst numbers, but not the greatest at the same time. And he had also got a 4-year, $84 million contract extension, so not too bad. However, the Oklahoma City Thunder, I will say, they were not as bad as the Orlando Magic, but they would finish the season as the 6th seed in the Western Conference and would lose to the Houston Rockets in the first round. And during the 2017 offseason, Victor Oladipo and Domantas Sabonis, who were traded to Oklahoma City the year prior, as I said before, they would be traded to the Indiana Pacers in exchange for Paul George. And at the time, people thought this was a terrible deal and that the Oklahoma City Thunder should go to jail for robbery. And heading into the 2017-18 season, a lot of people did not have high expectations for the Pacers and thought they would be a pretty bad team. But as we know, Vic and the Pacers would take the league by storm. He'd have a complete breakout season, averaging 23 points per game, 4 assists per game, 5 rebounds per game, 2.4 steals per game, and he led the league in steals per game, shooting 48% from the field and 37% from 3. He would establish himself as one of the best shooting guards in the NBA. He could score, he could shoot, he could defend at a high level, and he could also put on a show with his electrifying dunks. He'd be voted an all-star, and to top it all off, Indiana would surprise people as they won 48 games, which was good enough for the 5 seed. Now, they would lose to LeBron James Cavaliers in 7 games in the first round, but it was overall a great season for Oladipo and the Pacers, and for his efforts, he would be awarded the Most Improved Player award that season, and their future was looking very bright. Heading into the 2018-19 season, obviously Vic and the Pacers had much higher expectations. For the most part, they were meeting those expectations, as by January 20th, 2019, they were 31-15, and although Oladipo, he was having a down season, he was still one of the better shooting guards in the league and was still playing at an all-star level. But on January 23rd, 2019, in Indianapolis, Indiana, in Bankers Life Fieldhouse, Vic's basketball career, his life, and the Pacers' future would be altered on that fateful day, as in a game against the Toronto Raptors, he would suffer a ruptured quad tendon in his right knee. This would end up sidelining him for the rest of the season and beyond. The Pacers, they would finish the year 48-34, but they would make the playoffs as a 5 seed, but they would end up getting swept by the Boston Celtics. And Victor Oladipo, he would end up missing most of the 2019-20 season. And during this time, Domantas Sabonis, who previously had come off the bench for them, absolutely broke out, averaging 18 points per game, 5 assists per game, 12 rebounds per game on 54% shooting from the field. And later in the year, Victor Oladipo, he would return, and in the 13 games in which he did play, he didn't exactly play that well, as he'd average just 14 points per game, 3 assists per game, 3 rebounds per game on 39% shooting from the field. But to be fair, he was coming off a serious injury, and he probably had to deal with a lot of rust, and again, he was coming off a serious injury, so that was probably hampering him a little bit, and a lot of people thought he would get back to form soon enough. But then the season got delayed due to the virus, and during this time, there were a lot of rumors that Victor Oladipo would be traded, as he would be a free agent in the 2021 offseason. And he was due to get a big payday. A lot of people thought he would. Some people thought he had requested trade, and while he didn't actually request one, his relationship with the organization, it was sort of in a limbo due to contract disputes, and he would end up playing in the bubble, and he wasn't exactly amazing, and he didn't really look like his all-star self. Unfortunately, the Pacers, their season would end in the first round at the hands of the Miami Heat. And Vic, during the 2020 offseason, he would not be traded. However, there was still a lot of uncertainty about his future in Indy. He would start off the 2020-21 season not too bad, as in the 9 games in which he did play, with the Pacers, he would average 20 points per game, 4 assists per game, 6 rebounds per game, 2 steals per game on 42% shooting from the field and 36% shooting from 3. And overall, not too bad numbers. However, on January 14th, 2021, he'd be shipped off to the Houston Rockets in a massive James Harden blockbuster trade. And it's safe to say his time with the Houston Rockets was pretty uneventful, and it's a very forgettable time, He would average 21 points per game, but he'd do this on pretty bad shooting splits, and he still did not look like his old pre-injury self, and add that on with the fact that he only played 20 games with them, and Houston would go 3-17 in the games in which he did play over, and he also turned down a 2-year $45.2 million contract extension. His time with Houston Rockets just was not very exciting, and on March 25th, 2021, he'd be traded yet again, this time to the Miami Heat in exchange for Avery Bradley, Kelly Olynyk, and a 2022 draft pick. And his time on the Miami Heat would not be very fun, as he'd just played 4 games, as I said before, and he played really poorly in those games, and before you knew it, his season would be cut short as he'd undergo a season-ending knee injury, and that might even sideline him for the 2021-22 season. His downfall, I gotta say, it's pretty sad. The guy went from being a star in college, a disappointing start to his NBA career, a sudden breakout, and then all of a sudden injuries just screwed it up. But what really caused his downfall? As I said before, the answer is, I kind of gave away the answer, but the answer is pretty simple. It's mainly just the knee injury he suffered in the 2018-19 season. I mean, ever since then, he struggled to get back to form and has dealt with a ton of injuries. So, what's next for them? Oladipo, he is going to be a free agent in 2021, and while he's dealt with a lot of injuries, I'm sure there's still going to be a lot of teams that are going to be interested in retaining him. He's going to turn 30 in 2022, but he probably still has a lot of gas left in the tank, and if he can stay healthy, then maybe he can regain his all-star form, and he can be a valuable contributor to a contender. Let's just all hope the best for him and that he heals up and doesn't have to deal with injuries like this again. But yeah, with that being said, that is going to end it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure to like it, as it really does help out the channel, and also make sure to subscribe if you guys are new and enjoy this type of content so you don't miss out on any new videos like this. Plus, we're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and once we hit our goal, I'm finally gonna do a face reveal. And also let me know if you guys want to see more videos like this. But with that being said, I'm out, you guys.